How are you doing today?
Good. I brought you in a very rare book.
You have a book. You know what? My boss is right here. Hold on a quick second. Hey, Rick, do you have a second to look at a book?
Sure.
Today was actually kind of weird. I was just looking at a book with Rick, and another one came in. It was just perfect timing.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Classic of American literature. This is actually the salesman's sample for Tom Sawyer.
Okay, that is definitely cool.
I consider it the holy grail of Mark Twain collecting.
All right, there you go.
I really had great timing. Their book expert was actually in the shop and ready to look at it. The book is sort of like the preview for a movie. These are excerpts from Tom Sawyer. I'm prepared for tough negotiation. I've been here a few times. They always have their eye on the profit. 1876, Tom Sawyer came out. You know, Mark Twain, he was an amazing marketer. This was a period where books were normally sold in bookshops, and he decided with this publisher that he would send salesmen around trying to get, sales of his up-and-coming book. When you open it up, you have different binding types, like you would offer a cloth binding at a certain price, or different types of leather bindings.
Well, and that's why this book is interesting, even though it's not the first edition. It's because it kind of shows the history of printing, how things would have been sold at this time. You get more of an eye into the things that you normally don't get to see, how things were done behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the reasons that Twain liked to sell by subscription is that he said, that way people have already committed to buying the book before they know that it's bad. And he said that specifically about Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, well, he was very worried how Tom Sawyer was going to do. He wrote it as basically an adult book, but it kind of got branded as a boy's book, which sort of annoyed him.
Yeah, he wasn't known for writing books about children, and this was a big departure for him. It was a big risk. Tom Sawyer was pretty controversial at the time because he was not a good person. He lies, he cheats, he steals. So this was really hard because he wasn't a good example for kids.
Okay, so what do you want for it?
Well, I would like to get $10,000 out of it.
What do you think?
What do I think? Let's see. This is a really rare Mark Twain salesman's prospectus. Salesmen's copies were thrown out after they had served their use. That being said, it's also quite beat up, and it's still not a first edition Tom Sawyer. With all of those things in mind, the value that I would place on it retail is probably between $9,000 and $10,000.
Okay. I'm thinking $5,000. I have to resell it. I have to make money.
I mean, I tried to find out, and the Library of Congress doesn't even have a copy of the salesman sample. It's that rare.
He's right that this is a more rare salesman sample of Twain than other works by him.
Yeah, honestly, $5,000 is just too little for me to go. I mean, I want you to make a profit. I honestly didn't think $10,000 was unreasonable. I'll tell you what, at the end of Tom Sawyer, he finds gold. You know how much gold he finds?
$5,000 worth.
$6,000. Find $6,000 worth of gold. That's really the least I could take. And I think it gives you...
I'll go 55. It's a fair price. You know it's a fair price.
I actually think $6,000 is cheap.
It was a little awkward to sit there during the negotiation. You want to put in your 2 cents, but it's not really your business.
I really want to stick to six.
I'll go $5,500.
$6,000, you will have a line of Twain collectors at your door, I promise you.
Once you start getting over like $1,000, $2,000, the amount of people in this world that have the money to buy it and are willing to buy it dramatically falls off a cliff.
It's honestly hard to give this one up for that. It's a very special book. How about, like, Tom Sawyer, he swears on a blood oath. I'll do a blood oath at $5,500.
$5,500. It's a deal. I'll meet you right over there, and I'll have someone write you up.
$5,500 was honestly low. I think he's going to make a profit. On the flip side, I think Mark Twain would be smiling to know that I got $5,500 for a book that was likely going to be thrown out in the 1800s.